Once upon a time, long before the cities and roads crisscrossed the African continent, there was a power that ruled the waters, a spirit both feared and revered by all who lived near the rivers, lakes, and seas. Her name was Mami Wata, and her legend echoed across vast lands, from the coasts of West Africa to the great rivers of Central Africa, and even down to the shores of Southern Africa. Mami Wata, the water spirit, was a force of nature, a guardian of the waters, a giver of life, and a punisher of greed and wrongdoing. But who was Mami Wata? And why did her influence stretch across so many lands and peoples? This is her story, a tale that reveals the mysteries of the deep, the power of the water, and the wisdom that can be found in the heart of the waves. In the beginning, Mami Wata was born from the depths of the oceans, where the waters are darkest and the secrets of the earth are kept. She was a beautiful spirit, half human, half fish, with flowing hair as dark as night, eyes that sparkled like the stars, and a shimmering tail covered in iridescent scales. She moved through the water with grace and power, her presence commanding respect from all the creatures of the deep. Mami Wata's beauty was enchanting, but it was her power that truly set her apart. She could control the tides, summon storms, and calm the fiercest waves with a mere whisper. The waters obeyed her every command, and the fish, dolphins, and other sea creatures followed her as their queen. But Mami Wata was more than just a ruler of the waters. She was a protector, a guide, and a healer to those who respected the power of the oceans and rivers. For centuries, the people who lived near the water knew of Mami Wata and honored her in their daily lives. Fishermen would offer her gifts before casting their nets, praying for a bountiful catch. Mothers would visit the riverbanks, asking for her blessing upon their children. Travelers would seek her protection before crossing dangerous waters. Mami Wata was a spirit of both life and death, capable of bringing prosperity to those who honored her or disaster to those who disrespected her domain. The stories of Mami Wata were many, each one revealing a different aspect of her power and personality. Some said she could appear as a beautiful woman, walking along the shore in human form, her long hair trailing behind her like a veil. Others believed she could lure men into the water with her beauty, only to drown them in the depths if they had evil in their hearts. But there were also tales of Mami Wata's kindness, how she healed the sick and helped the lost find their way. One such story tells of a fisherman named Kofi who lived in a small village by the banks of a mighty river. Kofi was known as the best fisherman in the village. But one season, no matter how hard he tried, his nets came up empty. His family was hungry, and the village elders began to whisper that Kofi had angered the water spirits. Desperate and fearing for his family's survival, Kofi went to the edge of the river one night, under the light of a full moon, and called out to Mami Wata. "Great Mami Wata," he said, his voice trembling. "I have always respected your waters, but now they have turned against me. My nets are empty, and my family is starving. Please, I beg of you, help me." For a long time, there was silence. Kofi began to think that Mami Wata had not heard him, or worse, that she had chosen to ignore his plea. But just as he was about to leave, the water began to ripple, and from the depths, Mami Wata emerged. Her eyes, glowing in the moonlight, locked onto Kofi. "You dare to call upon me?" she asked, her voice soft but commanding. "What makes you think you deserve my help?" Kofi, though afraid, kept his gaze steady. "I have always honored the water, great Mami Wata. I have offered gifts and followed the ways of my ancestors, but now I have nothing left to give. My family is suffering, and I ask for your mercy." Mami Wata regarded him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Then she smiled, a smile both beautiful and mysterious. "I will help you, Kofi," she said. "But know this, the waters do not forget. You must continue to honor them, or they will turn against you once more." With that, Mami Wata reached into the water and pulled out a single fish, larger and more vibrant than any Kofi had ever seen. She handed it to him and disappeared beneath the waves. The next day, Kofi went to the river with renewed hope. To his astonishment, the fish he had caught the night before was not an ordinary fish. It seemed to glow in the light, and when he cast his net into the river that morning, it came back overflowing with fish. From that day on, Kofi's nets were never empty again, and he became the wealthiest man in the village. But he never forgot Mami Wata's warning, and every day he offered her gifts at the river's edge, knowing that her power could just as easily take away what she had given. But not all who encountered Mami Wata were so fortunate. Another story tells of a greedy merchant named Adu who sought to exploit the river's bounty for his own gain. Adu had heard the tales of Mami Wata's power and believed that if he could capture her, he would become the richest man in the land. He would have control over the waters, and with Mami Wata's magic, he could command the fish, the rivers, and even the rain. One night, Adu set out in his boat, armed with a net made of the finest silk, which he believed would be strong enough to capture the water spirit. As he sailed into the center of the river, he called out to Mami Wata, his voice filled with arrogance. "Mami Wata!" he shouted. "I know you are here. Come forth and show yourself to me, or I will take what is mine by force." At first, there was no response. The river remained calm, and Adu began to think that the stories of Mami Wata were just that, stories. But then the water began to churn, and a great wave rose up, nearly capsizing Adu's boat. From the depths, Mami Wata emerged, her eyes blazing with fury. "You dare to command me!" she hissed, her voice like the crashing of waves against rocks. "You think you can capture the power of the waters, greedy man?" Adu, though shaken, did not back down. "You will serve me, Mami Wata. With your power, I will control the rivers and the seas. I will be the richest man in the land." Mami Wata laughed, a sound that echoed across the water. "You are a fool," she said. "The waters are not yours to control. They are life itself, and they flow where they will." Before Adu could react, Mami Wata raised her hands and the waters rose with her. A great wave crashed over Adu's boat, sweeping him into the depths. He struggled, trying to swim to the surface, but the waters pulled him down deeper and deeper, until he was lost forever in the dark embrace of the river. His body was never found, and his name was soon forgotten. A cautionary tale for those who would try to exploit the power of Mami Wata. Throughout the centuries, the legend of Mami Wata continued to grow. She became a symbol of both the beauty and the danger of the water. To those who honored her, she was a protector, a healer, and a giver of life. But to those who disrespected her or sought to exploit the waters, she was a force of destruction, capable of sweeping away entire villages with a single storm. Many shrines were built in her honor, often near rivers, lakes, or the sea. People would come to these shrines with offerings, coins, flowers, perfume, and other gifts, hoping to gain her favor or ask for her blessings. Some believed that Mami Wata could cure illness, bring fertility to barren lands, or guide sailors safely across the seas. Others feared her wrath and made offerings to appease her anger, especially after a flood or a storm. But above all, Mami Wata was a reminder of the power of nature, a power that could not be controlled or tamed, but only respected. Her spirit still lingers in the waters of Africa, her presence felt in every ripple, every wave, and every storm. And so, the tale of Mami Wata lives on, passed down through generations, a testament to the power of the water spirit who rules the depths, and the wisdom of those who know to honor the waters she protects. The power of Mami Wata, the African water spirit, is a force beyond measure. She is a guardian, a healer, and a destroyer, depending on the heart of those who encounter her. This story, like the endless waves of the ocean, reminds us that nature is to be respected, and that the forces of the earth and water hold mysteries that no man can ever truly command.